Hello and welcome to this session about external address mapping and certificates. So in this session we are talking about two things. The first thing I want to talk with you about is the browser access and how to enable it for external address mapping so that it can be accessed from outside the internet, and also how to leverage the Sub-Business One sales mobile app to connect to your environment by using a self-signed certificate. So first of all, as you can see here, we have browser access up and running. And the thing is that if we look at the system landscape directory, that the the server defined is always against the internal host called calhost, and the browser access is also against the Windows host name, which is of course both not accessible from the outside via these names, and therefore we need the external address mapping. And I will now register the external IP addresses of these hosts. So I will start with the system landscape directory, and I will have to look at the external address, and this is a AWS Amazon server which I'm using here, so which provided me this information. So I will now use for Linux my external IP address, and will follow this pattern here, HTTPS, the IP followed by the port 40,000. Okay, you can also see a message here that I need to restart the browser access gatekeeper when changing an external, when adding an external URL. So again, we will continue, and I will keep the browser access for the end. So I will start or continue with the analytics, HTTPS IP from Linux, followed by the port/enablement. Again, we need to restart this time the analytics service to affect the change. Then next one, calhost again. So this is my Linux machine. Okay. So we have now the SLD, the analytics platform, and the mobile service, which are all Linux components mapped with their external IP address. And the last one will be the browser access, and therefore I need to copy and paste the external Windows IP, and I will then just continue. Follow the same pattern, so same port and the rest of the URL, okay. And therefore I need to restart again the browser access gatekeeper service. So I can do that now by going to the computer management, and then to the services. And I will restart then the Sub-Business One Gatekeeper service, and it's restarting now. This can take actually like 5 minutes. So let's wait a little bit here. In the meanwhile, I will also go to Linux and restart the service of the server tools, which are located in etc initd sub b1 server tools restart. By the way, there's also a way to do this in Yast. So in Yast also, if you don't like the terminal at all, you can go type in just service in the YAST. YAST is like the control panel in Windows. And then you can see system services. And in here, if we go, for example, to the expert mode, we can then search for the SAP Business One Server Tools service, and we can then, via the drop down here, say restart now. Okay, this is also possible with the UI. So we wait until it restarts. A good sign is to go in the top command, which is more or less like the task manager in Windows. And we can see that the Java, the Tomcat, is still consuming a lot of CPU power. So we need to wait until it will not be the highest process anymore in this list. Same applies also in Windows. If we look at the task manager here and we go to the details, the Tomcat should be not number one from the browser access gatekeeper. So when both services are not in this position anymore, we can then continue. So the browser access seems to be ready, which is a Windows service. So we close the task manager, and in Linux, in this virtual machine here from Amazon, we need to still wait. Okay, so this is done now. And what we can do now, actually, I can open my local browser outside Amazon and go to the external IP address and follow by the port 8100/dispatcher and see if I can connect. One thing, you need to ensure that the firewall, of course, has the port 8100 opened, that this can work. Okay, you can see now also the IP changes from Windows IP now to Linux IP also. So all host names have been now mapped to external IP addresses. So now I can log in here from outside the Amazon remote desktop session, can log in directly from my native browser using the external IP. Okay, so this was part one of the video actually, so how to enable the external address mapping for the SAP Business One components. Not only the browser access, but also the analytics service and as well as the mobile service, which we will now use. So we can close that and go back to the remote desktop session of Linux. What we will do now is to make some changes to the SSL configuration, which sounds a bit, let's say, advanced, but it's just a few steps you need to follow. And if we look here at two notes about the self-signed certificates, how to modify them to also include the external IP, as well as how to update the certificate of the SLD, the System Landscape Directory. So first of all, we need to follow this node 22.98.98.5. In this one, if you scroll down a little, you can find a very good explanation how to start. So first of all, we need to make some changes to a file called OpenSSL-ZNF. This file can be found or located under etc SSL, and then there's the file. So they are working with commands. This time I will make it via the UI for you. So we go to the roots home icon on the desktop, and then we will change to the file system, and we go to the etc folder. And in the etc folder, we then go further down to SSL. And in here we can find the OpenSSL file. So we just open it. And in here we need to apply changes. So we'll just go back to the manual, and we can see that we need to find a section called v3_ca, and then we need to remove the comment sign, and we need to also add at the end something with @ alt names. Okay, let's do this. So first of all, I will find this v3_ca section. The section is not the first search result. Actually, the section is with the brackets around. And if we go down a little in here, we can find the subject alt name, and we will uncomment it by deleting the number sign, and we will also remove the part after this equal sign, and we will add here @ alt_ names. So if we then go back to the SAP node, we can also see that we should create a section with the name alt names, and also a second line with IP.1 equals the external IP. Okay, so I will go a little bit further down until the end of all of these things. And before the next section starts, I will just create a new section called alt_names. Same like we specified here, and close the brackets. And below it's IP.1 equals, and now I need the external IP again. So we have it here on the right. So I'll just type it. Okay, that's done. And there's one last step to take actually, and let's have a look at the node. So there's one more. We need to find the CA default section and also remove a number sign here to uncomment it. Okay, so let's go to the top of this document, and I will now search again to CA default. Okay, found. If I scroll down a bit, I can find this section here, copy extension equals copy, and there's a number sign in front which I have to delete. So okay, these changes are all I have to take. So now I save the file again, and I can close the editor. Okay, for the next steps, I will need to go to the terminal this time. There is also a way with the Explorer, but this time I will use the terminal. So I will go to the folder of the Business One installation, which is in my case user SAP sub Business One, and then I will switch to the Server Tools folder, which is Server Tools, and in the Server Tools folder I will switch to the SLD section. In there to Tools, and within this folder there are several scripts, and we will actually need two of them. The first one is the HTTPS certificate generator. So we will start it by making a full stop and a /, and then HTTPS certificate generator.sh, and start it. The first thing we need to enter is the file location where we want to store the generated certificates. So you can take anything. I will just use the home, so /home, and I can then also now specify a file name. So in my case it will be let's say sales app, and press enter. Now I need to specify the host name, and I will use the local host name here, calhost, and press enter. Now I have to give a password. Okay, so this is done, and we can also have a quick look. So there are these sales app.cer files and so on. Okay, as a next step, I will just give you a quick hint here, a tip or best practice. First, before doing this, copy the path of your current Tomcat installation in Linux, which is under user SAP sub business 1 common Tomcat. Just remove the last slash, and we can copy this information. So edit, copy, and we have it now copied. And then we will execute the update HTTPS certificate script. The first thing we need to enter actually is this path, so we'll just paste it and I press enter. A new certificate location is /home. Oh, sorry, tab is not working here. And it's called, you can still see it on the screen here, sales app.p12. The password, okay. Great. So this is done. And there's now also a command which allows us to check it. So if we switch actually to the section below, number 8, we can then see here a command, open SSL, and so on. Okay, so I will copy this command to the clipboard and put it in here. Okay, there's some word wrapping necessary. So okay, so what I need to do now is to test if the certificate has now the external IP inside. So it's not a mandatory step, but it's good to test your certificate. So I will just copy this command. Here you need to enter now the certificate file name. Okay. So, and what you can see directly on the screen is that there is an alternative name now defined in the certificate, which is the external IP address. So that's perfect. What we need to do now is also restart one more time the server tools. So this time I will do it with the Yast. And we will go to services. And I will go to the expert mode, and I will go to the SAP B1 server tools, and I will restart them now. Okay, so it says success. However, if we go to the terminal again and we enter the top command, we can still see that the Java process is the highest in the list, so we need to wait until this is done. In the meanwhile, while it's still starting up the Tomcat, we can do one thing which helps us a bit later. So we can go to the directory of the B1 share. Actually, it's in that path. It's in the Business One main folder. There's the B1 share folder, and we can copy from the home directory. We can copy our sales app.cer file in here. So I have it now in this folder. And when I now go to my Windows machine and I access the HANA server here, I can find the sales app certificate, and I will now copy it and go and send it via my email. So mobile certificate. Okay, I will send it now. Okay, so the mobile certificate is now on my mobile, and I will switch now to my mobile device. Alright, so this is now the email I sent on my iPhone, my mobile phone, and it contains attached at the bottom the certificate. So I will just click on it or make a tap on it, and then you can see that we are going to install it now. So I will now press here in the upper right corner on install. And before doing it, actually, we can also see in the details section, and if we click then here, if we scroll down a bit, we can see the IP address. This is the static external address of my Linux server. And I will now install it. Okay. And click again on install. So if you have iOS 10.3 or higher, you need to do one more step. You go to the settings, back to general settings, and then go into the about section. And then you scroll down to the bottom of the about section to the certificate trust settings. And in here, we need to flip the switch for the cal host for the new certificate. So I will do so. And we need to continue and enable this certificate as trusted root certificate. And that's it. So now I can start the Business One app. So next we enter the IP address, and I have it in the clipboard, so I will just paste it and save it. And in the next step, we just need to enter the credentials of a Business One user. Click on Company Database below to select one. And there's just one in there in our landscape, or in my landscape. And we click on Log On. And as you can see now, we successfully connected to the environment by using the external address mapping, as well as a self-signed certificate using the alternative name option. Please bear in mind that when opening up login portals like the Control Center and the Browser Access login portal to the web, that further security enhancements are needed, such as strong passwords, reverse proxy, VPN tunneling, and so on. With this said, thanks for watching this video and goodbye.